there were these two guys out hiking when they came upon an old abandoned mine shaft. Curious about its depth, they threw in a pebble and waited for the sound of it striking the bottom, but they heard nothing. They went and got a bigger rock, threw it in and waited. Still nothing. They searched the area for something larger and came upon a railroad tie. With great difficulty, the two men carried it to the opening and threw it in. While waiting for it to hit the bottom, a goat suddenly darted between them and leapt into the hole. The guys were still standing there, with astonished looks upon their faces from the actions of the goat, when a man walked up to them. He asked them if they had seen a goat anywhere in the area, and they said that one had just jumped into the mine shaft in front of them. The man replied, "Oh no, that couldn't be my goat. Mine was tied to a railroad tie." Two cartons of yogurt walk into a bar. The bartender, who was a tub of cottage cheese, says to them, "We don't serve your kind in here." One of the yogurt cartons says back to him, "Why not? We're cultured individuals." A man walks into a bar and orders one shot. Then he looks into his shirt pocket and orders another shot. After he finishes, he looks into his shirt pocket again and orders another shot. The bartender is curious and asks him, "Every time you order a shot, you look in your shirt pocket. Why?" The man replies, "I have a picture of my wife in my pocket, and when she starts to look good, I go home." An Irish man walks into a bar. The bartender looks at him and notices he has a steering wheel stuck down the front of his pants. "Hey," he says, "what's with the steering wheel down your pants?" "I don't know," says the Irishman, "but it's driving me nuts." A man walks into a bar with a giraffe. The giraffe drinks so much it passes out on the floor. The man gets up and heads for the door to leave when the bartender yells, "Hey, you can't leave that lying here." The drunk replies, "That's not a lion, it's a giraffe." There was once a man who was in a bar, terribly drunk. The bartender noticed this, and when he asked for another beer, the bartender politely told him that he was too drunk to be served another drink. The man leaves. He walks in the side door and asks the bartender for a beer. A little frustrated, the bartender repeats the answer he said before. The man leaves. He then comes in the other side door, walks into the bartender and asks for a beer. The bartender is annoyed and tells the man he is too drunk and to get a ride home and leave his bar. He leaves. He then comes in the back door, comes to the bartender, and before he can say a word, the bartender explodes at him. "I told you already, you are way too drunk. You cannot have another beer. Get out of my bar." Disgruntled, the man looks at the bartender and asks, "Man, how many bars do you work at?" A guy walks into a bar with a dog under his arm, puts the dog on the bar and announces that the dog can talk and that he has $100 and he is willing to bet anyone who says he can't. The bartender quickly takes the bet and the owner looks at the dog and asks, "What's the thing on top of this building which keeps the rain from coming inside?" The dog answers, "Roof." The bartender says, "Who are you kidding? I'm not paying." The dog's owner says, "How about double or nothing, and I'll ask him something else." The bartender agrees and the owner turns to the dog and asks, "Who was the greatest baseball player of all time?" The dog answers, "Ruth." With that, the bartender picks them both up and throws them out the door. As they bounce on the sidewalk, the dog looks at his owner and says, DiMaggio? A preacher goes into a bar and says, anybody who wants to go to heaven, stand up. Everybody stands up except for a drunk in the corner. The preacher says, my son, don't you want to go to heaven when you die? The drunk says, when I die? Sure, I thought you were taking a load up now. What is the difference between a dog and a fox? 8 beers. A hungry snake arrived at the edge of the river while the fisherman realized he had forgotten to bring any bait. Just then he happened to see the little snake passing by who had caught a worm. The fisherman snatched up the snake and robbed him of his worm. Feeling sorry for the little snake with no lunch, he snatched him up again and poured a little beer down his throat and went about his fishing. An hour or so later, the fisherman felt a tug at his pant leg. Looking down, he saw the same snake with 3 more worms in his mouth.